Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon, the pickup guy.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our show. Tony, speaking of our show real quick, well, before we get into what we do, I think we need to discuss maybe who might we be doing it with today. Person, who are you?
James Sturner, Sturner Guitars.
Oh, right. Now, just so everybody can get a visual on your audio, where can people go to see what a Sturner guitar is?
I'm on Sturner Guitars on most social media, so Instagram is just at Sturner Guitars. Started doing a TikTok, trying to wrap my head around that. That's also Sturner Guitars. And then, of course, my website, just SturnerGuitars.com.
All right. STURNER Guitars.
Oh, yeah. Important, the U. But everybody calls it STER.
Yep, STUR. All right, so make sure you go check that out because we're going to have a really great time with James here. He makes some pretty funky guitars. And
Nice.
They're really cool. They're wild. They are definitely his own jam. So we think you're going to like them. We know a lot of people do, according to Instagram.
Yes.
And according to his record sales every year. I don't know if that's true or not, but...
World record sales.
Yes. So we need to...
Were you going to ask me a question?
That's right, Tony. I was going to ask you that. What do we do on this show?
Todd, on this show,
Yes.
we like to talk about gear.
Yes.
We like to talk about the people that make this gear, specifically boutique gear, things like
That's right.
guitars, amps, pedals, accessories,
Movers and shakers.
movers and shakers.
What does Jared like to talk about?
He likes to talk
Well,
about...
let's ask him.
I love to
101s.
talk about 101s.
101s, that's right.
Learning stuff.
We like to learn
So
about
if you don't know
things.
what a 101 is, if you go back into our catalog, we have featured several episodes where we say it's a 101, like a class.
Yeah,
it's
we've
the
done
basics. It's
speakers and pickups.
general understanding.
and-
So, we've got people of all levels who are listening. And even if you're super experienced, you can always learn something new.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
that's a big part of the show. Whether it's learning some kind of technical thing new or learning about a new product or a new guitar builder like James here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey.
Yes. So we're shining a light on a lot of things.
Yes.
We're trying to anyways with a pen light. It's not very big, but... Anyways,
Do you have any announcements, Todd?
I do. Let me get to those. So I wanted to. Okay, we love featuring mail that we get, or I don't know if it's called mail, messages, email, whatever you want to call it. So this one came in from Bob Crouch. Bob Crouch is one of our new supporters, and we are grateful to him for that.
Absolutely.
It says, guys, I absolutely love your show, and I'm quite happy to be on board to help. I do a lot of driving and long road trips for my profession, and the podcast has been a massive source of enjoyment for getting me through some of those drives. I am a longtime gear nerd, so this show is like hanging out with a bunch of folks like me who I really did not think existed. He says, gear of choice. I am a very amateur luthier. Just for fun, I did make a brand name and Instagram page for my stuff at Cindalee Guitars. So that's CINDALEE _ guitars. That's on Instagram. Even though I do not sell any instruments. Someday, Bob.
Yeah.
Learning for me is all self-taught at the moment, so a lot of it is YouTube fail repeat, as he says. As such, my stuff is pretty pedestrian by way of comparison to others out there, but I'm practicing and improving all the time. That's what it's about. If you're doing it and you're happy, that's a pretty great thing to be experiencing.
Absolutely. By the time you make your 10th build, you'll know exactly what you're doing.
Yes. My only two real pieces of gear are my 1981 Gibson CMT Explorer and my orange rocker verb MK2 50-watt combo. Jared, let me ask you really quick. The orange, you have a couple of orange amps. Are you familiar with the orange rocker verb
Yes, I am, of
MK2
course.
50-watt combo?
Yeah, I don't have one of those. I have a couple of AD30s.
Okay, all right. Jared is a fan of the orange sound.
They are great amps. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been curious about if my stuff would sound good with the orange, but I guess my curiosity has been great enough to actually do it. Maybe
Curiosity
someday.
killed
Well,
the
I
cat.
can only, that's another expense. So he says the support commitment is kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. Putting money into a show that is entertaining and always carrying a positive vibe is worth the cheddar. That's a nice way to put it. I like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You guys never talk down to anyone, never badmouth anyone, and seem to have a positive thing to say about all facets of guitardom, with the obvious exception of being the Todd and his hatred of Strats. Anyway, so cheers, Bob. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Bob. There's a lot of nevers in there. We do our best to try to stay on the
Yeah.
bright side of life if we can. But never is sometimes a dangerous word. Never and always can usually get you into trouble.
Yes. Ask any marriage counselor.
Yeah, that's a great thing for you, James. I think that's a great thing you could write up on your classroom and above the door. Never and always usually
Words of
gets
wisdom.
you into trouble. Oh boy.
The soft maybes for everything.
Yes. So, by the way, people, James is a teacher. He's going to tell us all about that. So just hold on. I'm not ignoring him. I just wanted to set that up for him to knock it down later.
Yeah. Buckle up, gang.
All right. We also, drum roll, Tony, Jared, James. We've got a winner.
A winner
For the Spark Amp giveaway. This has been a long time coming, ladies and gentlemen. And we are so thrilled to announce that Rick Leander, something along those lines, is the winner of the Spark Amp. He's based in Aurora, Colorado. Aurora, Colorado.
Easy for your
Yeah.
That's very cool. So
I believe the rural juror is also in Aurora, Colorado. Anyways, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, a little 30 Rock for y'all.
Yeah.
So we're
that's
really
cool.
excited for him. Yeah, that's great. He's going to love it.
Oh,
He's going to
man.
absolutely love it.
Well,
Grab the walls. Grab everything is shaking. Jared's
Jared's grandfather clock is chiming.
grab the china.
There it
I
is.
love that clock. I love it.
That's a reference to arguably my favorite movie of all time, Mary Poppins. The real Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Yeah.
The real one.
Yes. So, hey, by the way, if you want your own Spark amp and you want to save a little bit of, as Bob says, cheddar.
I did.
That's right. You can go to Spark amps. So go to positivegrid.com, okay, and you're going to find your Spark amp, and you can use guitar knobs, all uppercase. That's important.
Yes.
Uppercase guitar knobs and the number 10. And you're going to save $10 off of whatever great deal they already have.
They have
on
some
top of it.
Crazy good deals.
Yeah.
Crazy
So,
good.
Get yourself one. You've heard us talk about it plenty. Okay, everybody. Let's find out what's going on in our music worlds this week. We're going to start off with Tanya.
Yeah.
And then we're going to check out what James is doing.
Well, speaking of Spark amps, last Saturday I ordered my Spark amp while we were doing a podcast.
That's right. So did John Esterly.
And John Esterly did too. And it showed up yesterday.
Amazing.
Now, my only gripe is it wants me to do a firmware upgrade,
Well,
which
that's probably good.
yeah, I mean, it's probably good, but it's you have to go to a computer and then you have to plug that in.
You don't have to do it.
Well, I know, but I'm sure there's some really extra cool stuff that
Right.
they're doing on there. So, but in the meantime, until I get all that taken care of, I hooked it up Bluetooth
It's
with
like
my
one
iPhone.
chord. Bang. You're in there.
I know it's easy,
Yeah. All right.
but I've been,
You must have a pretty good life if all you can complain about is the easy stuff. Jiminy Christmas.
So that was a very cool, nice bonus surprise yesterday that showed up. Also yesterday, a pair of Lindy Fralin P90s showed up for my Epiphone Wilshire.
Very cool.
The reissue that came
Yeah.
out. Oh my God. I shouldn't be this surprised because I've put Lindy's pickups in a lot of other things, especially as P90s, and they always sound fantastic. And I mean, the difference between what was stock in that Epiphone and throwing a pair of Fralin P90s in there was just, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like a totally different guitar. It has the sound that I like in a guitar, especially from P90s. So very happy about that. I actually soldered everything in today, and my usual
soldered it?
I soldered it. And my usual mix is I like to go with a stock output for the neck and a +5 on the bridge. So that kind of helps balance things out a little bit and darkens up the bridge ever so slightly. So I was just cranking that thing today after I got all the soldering done. And there you have it. So
Right on.
So hats off to Lindy Fralin.
Indeed.
Very, very, very fine gentleman. When I get on the phone with him, I'm on the phone for like 2 hours. We can't stop talking about pickups. He's one of the nicest people in the business.
Yeah, he is super nice.
Yeah, Jared, I was just going to point out. I was going to find out from Tony if his assessment of the Spark amp was Jared rated, which would be very, very, very fine amp. And you delivered, and I'm so happy.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Jared, you really should have a second one because you always have to buy things in pairs, don't you?
Yes.
Well, I don't have the pearl color.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you might need to get
It'd be nice to have one at the home in Ohio and one in Tennessee.
You need one in your office.
Yeah.
Let's see, James, what's going on with you, my man?
Not much. Just hanging out in Philly. Just finished work for the day. Got home from teaching and relaxing right now.
Philly's a big, fat music maker town. My goodness.
How many guests have
We've
we
probably
had?
had
Oh,
more
it's
people
incredible.
from Philly on this show
Yeah.
out of 200 plus interviews,
Yeah.
235 episodes than any other city in the world.
We've got Wooly, we've got DePinto, we've got, I mean, all the,
I miss
Electro
Wooly,
Foods.
man. I've heard
We're
from
going to start
Wooly in a
leaving
long
people out.
time.
We can't count everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
I stopped counting it too.
So yeah, you just got. But anything spectacular this week? Are you learning any kind of new music or playing any new pedals or anything?
Music wise, I mean, right now I'm like, in addition to being a teacher, I'm in getting my master's in art education as well. So I'm like, a lot of my time is consumed with class. Currently I'm in a rapid prototyping class. So most of my free time has been eaten up, like trying to get some weird prototype designs for like 3D printing and like various
cool.
parts together.
Nice.
So that's kind of like tangentially related to music. It will eventually contribute to a guitar that I'm working on, kind of like hashing out some of the finer details on currently.
Awesome, very
But,
cool.
Yeah.
I applaud that. I applaud the exploring the technologies.
So yeah, as an art instructor, I mean, are you finding that technology is more and more coming into play? I mean, I'm guessing 3D printing and
They got
Photoshop.
tattoo guns now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like when I was a kid, we had tempera paints and we liked it.
Yeah, and you ate them.
And we ate them.
Yummy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in art education, like it's happening slowly, but it is. I mean, that's what my whole thesis that I'm writing currently is about, like implementing more technologies within the art room, and for like teachers who are, more like comfortable with using, more classic materials like paint and clay. Like, how would you introduce 3D printing into a classroom or CNCing into a classroom? And I mean, the kids are really into that stuff. Like currently I'm teaching a couple sections of ceramics 1, ceramics 2, metals 1, and metals 2, and graphic design.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
like, yeah, no, it's wonderful. It's great working with the kids, but definitely trying to do like last year with COVID, we had a lot of time because the kids weren't necessarily in the building at all times. We'd only have like a couple in, but like for metals, for instance, we have a 3D printer and we were doing, we were testing out lost PLA casting, which is like lost wax casting, but with a 3D print. So you could like model a ring in there and then put it in a kiln and burn out the 3D print.
Wow.
And then we'd put liquid pewter in there. And then you would like dunk that in water and then you'd have a perfect cast of your print out of pewter. So we're trying to like get some of that stuff in there because when they get to college, like a lot of that stuff, like specifically with jewelry is like considered metals jewelry CAD CAM. So a lot of the stuff I'm using for like designing guitars actually like has stuff in common with, stuff in the metals courses and even in ceramics with like mold making and stuff.
Oh, that's
Neato.
very cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to the modern world, right?
Yes.
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay. Well, very cool. Jared, how about yourself, my friend?
Oh man, I got a really cool phone call the other night by this fella. I don't, come to think of it, I don't understand why he called me.
You didn't go on a picnic with your cousin or something?
He called me about something just a little bit better than that. He's like, hey, man, I've got a really rare set of 74 Gibson or 75 or 76 Gibson pickups. Like they were cream T-top pickups, double cream T-top pickups. They do exist. I did have a set in my possession about 12 years ago. So I know they exist. And this guy's like, hey, man, I just wanted to send you a picture of these and, to get your nod on them. And I'm like, oh, please do. And send them. And I gave him my email and everything. And I said, are you looking to sell them? He's like, yeah, I think I'm going to. And he's like, but I'm going to want a lot of money for them. I'm like, oh, yeah, what is it? And it's like he didn't want to tell me. I'm like, come on. And so he finally told me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I'd be more than happy to buy them from you." I said, "Just toss me some pictures over, and let me get a quick look at them, and I'll be able to tell, and feel good about the purchase." And he's like, "Yeah, cool, all right." And he ghosted me, never called or never emailed, never anything, and his phone number came up private.
So you were the test bait to see if the price he was asking was too low, which apparently it was.
Yeah. So he didn't. I should have said. I don't know. Maybe I should have haggled with him on that. But I was like, yeah, man. If that's what you want, just let's get it done. And nothing. He just left. He's like,
well, maybe he's
like,
going to try to.
He said yes. I better do 1,500. And ladies and gentlemen, that's called greed. And I don't care what happens to that guy. So whatever.
He's dead to you.
Yeah. Okay.
He's dead. Yeah. I hope he never calls me again. And not only that, I'm like, as long as this is Gibson pickups, I'll talk to you about it. But Brandon wants stuff. I don't do that. I just send them over to Zach. So.
Yeah. Nice.
How
about you, Todd?
Well, thank you for asking, Tony. Speaking of the P90.
The P90.
The famed P90. So at the recent show that I was at, we got to meet, the great thing about doing gigs, especially if it's like out of your normal playing zone, is that you always meet great people. There was a band that played after us called The Long Hunt. I believe they're from Pittsburgh. And man, they were great. Instrumental. And they were so good. Awesome guitar tones, killer drums, bass. Like it was just a trio, and it was just sort of like a big sonic, landscape, and it was fantastic. Some of it got really heavy. The guy was a great technical player, had some great gear. He played a Mesa Boogie amp. But after our show, he came up before he went on. He says, "Man, those P90s sounded amazing." And I actually get that comment probably more often. It's not like, hey, they're not going to say I play well because I don't especially play well, but the sound is really good. So credit to Jarrett for making those pickups.
Oh, it was in your double cut?
That was in the Les Paul double cut. Yeah. Okay. So I get that comment all the time. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's just cool when someone connects with something specific, especially as a guitar, enthusiast. It's like, you get it, And he's like, hey, you hit that tremolo pedal. What was that? What was that? So we just start talking about gear and stuff, and it was really good. So you might want to check them out. They're called The Long Hunt, and it's really good stuff, man. So, all right, let's move on to little four on the floor action. But first, Tony?
Yes, Todd?
I like Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Obviously.
I do.
Who doesn't?
I do.
Who doesn't?
Well, maybe someone who doesn't use pedals doesn't.
Okay.
But if you do, under oath, would you say that these are good?
I would say they're incredibly awesome.
That's right.
They're very, very, very good.
Very good patch cables.
That was
very,
Jared.
very. They're Jared certified.
Jared
very,
approved.
very,
They
very
are.
good.
Definitely Jared approved.
Well, what's great about them is they come in so many different sizes. They come in different shapes, so that if you got jacks on the top of one pedal and you needed to go to a side on the other pedal, you don't have to, mess with it. And the cables are flat, and the jacks themselves are about the same size as a quarter-inch jack.
That is correct.
I mean, they're teeny tiny. Very flexible, very well made.
The biggest,
very affordable,
dependable,
and very dependable.
For me, that's the big thing.
Well, yeah.
So you can go to tourgeardesigns.com/discount/the guitar knobs and get 10% off your order, your entire order. Okay,
entire order.
And
you're going to want a bunch of them.
Yeah, and if you can't figure out what I just said, just type in guitar knobs and you should be okay. The guitar knobs. All right, one word. Do it. Save 10%, tourgeardesigns.com/discount/the guitar knobs. Thank you so much to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our four on the floor. Jared?
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. Four on the floor.
All right, James Sturner of Sturner Guitars. We would love to hear your four on the floor.
All right. Well, let me preface this by saying, I use pedals, but kind of sparingly. I don't have a wide collection, but what I do use, I rarely take off my board. So to start, the first thing I have, I don't even know if these people exist as a company anymore, but it is a Deadbeat Audio Thank You Distortion Sustain pedal.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. I saw it on Instagram. They were really cheap. It was $50, and I was like, for that price, I might as well check it out and see if it's worth it. And it's pretty versatile. You can just use it for whatever. I rarely use distortion, but whenever I do need it, this seems to fit the bill. So I would say in the end, it was worth the $50. If you can find them, check them out. I'm pretty sure I saw that the company closed.
Oh, wait. Now I know what you're talking about. Yes. Yeah,
they were weird. It just came up on my Instagram, and I was like, why not? $50, right?
I think that's great. Yeah, that is a great deal.
Yeah.
And it's also sounds pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I actually had the pleasure of playing one of those at one point. So...
Yeah, and then let's see. After that, nothing wildly too fancy. I got the Line 6 DL4. Just for if I want to put some stank on it.
Oh,
and for those who don't know what a Line 6 DL4 is, it is a multi-delay modeler. Yeah,
Yes.
Sorry, I messed that up, but it's a delay.
It's got a whole bunch of knobs, man. You can turn these things left. You can turn them right. You got all these different little buttons. It's fun. So, if I'm trying to get a little spacey, I'll play around with that.
Right. It's also excellent if you have your windows up and you drive your RV into the lake, you can actually smash the windshield with it to get out.
Yeah, man, they just need a seatbelt cutter on it. And then,
I was able to smash the window, but my seatbelt kept me in.
Then I drowned. Damn it.
Oh my god!
It was all warm in there too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. After that, the just electro harmonics, the Holy Grail Nano, just for some reverb. I picked this thing up. There's the what is it? There's a guitar show that's at in the greater Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
Every year. So, what is it? B something. It's like B3.
B3.
Yeah.
Greater
So
Philly
I'm up there. Yeah, and I snagged this at one of those just because I needed a reverb, and it was used as secondhand, but it's built well and has held up to everything I put it through. So if you're thinking about getting one, I'd say definitely do it. They're nice.
Yeah, and it's not going to break the bank. So if you hate it, just no worries.
And the Nano is the smaller version of the big full size.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
pretty compact.
Doesn't eat up as much real estate.
No, Jared, you've got the big one, the big old one.
Yeah, I do. I think I've had it a little over 10 years now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got that. It's a great reverb.
Big wedge, the old big wedge one.
Oh yeah.
And how about last?
And last, this is my newest pedal, and it's honestly been the thing I've been using the most. I got the JHS 3 series, their compressor, and I really love the hell out of this thing. It's been, pretty much whenever I play now, I have that thing on. And again, similar deal. I mean, I don't invest a ton in pedals, but they came out with that line, and I was like, whatever, a little over $100, I think it was, and I was like, for a compressor, seems worth it, and I'm glad I got it.
Cool. Do you usually use a compressor? Is this a replacement, or is this something new for you?
This is something new. I mean, I had never really. I mean, up until about a year ago, I'd never really even thought of playing with them, and then I was just like, for that price point, I might as well experiment with the sound a little bit more. And I just put it. I like it's got that little bright cut toggle, so whatever you're playing, you can kind of if it's a little sharp, you can take that off, and it's fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm glad that you were able to share your four. I know that not everybody is like a pedal fiend or anything like that, but it's fun to find out what people are using, no matter for what purpose. And compression is one of those things. It's every time we hear compression, I scratch my chin, and Tony kind of looks up in the air and is like, yes, compression. Glad you're using that. I'm not.
Yeah, I guess I'm not opposed to using compression.
Yeah.
I have a jangle box that I use with my Rickenbackers that you almost have to get that kind of McGuinn tone, because he used a super, super heavy duty compressor. And in fact, Jangle Box
240 psi, if I recall.
I believe that's the case. Yes, but they just came out with an onboard one now that they comes on a guard that you actually can drop right into your Rickenbacker now.
Wow.
Yeah, that just came out. I don't know, last month or so.
That's kind of neato.
Yeah, but it's if you want that,
I bet Dymel's already been working on one of those for a while.
He's probably got something maybe similar.
Frank Dymel. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
What a builder that guy is. Well, very cool. Thank you for sharing that, Tony. I did actually ask, because I don't want to just play ignorant and stupid my whole life. So I asked John, I said, hey, John, what about I didn't even finish. He's like, absolutely not. Not for you, you dum-dum. That's literally what he says. Just stop. Okay, I'll take your word for it. John?
Well, when you start your country music band, you can get one.
Yeah. So anyways, we are going to get on with the interview portion
Yes.
of the show. And we've got James Sturner from Sturner Guitars. And again, if you haven't gone there yet, go to SturnerGuitars.com or check them out on Instagram, wherever you might be at. And you're probably going to do a double take. As soon as you hear it, you're like, roar. These are some funky looking guitars, man. You definitely have cut yourself a niche, or several.
At least three niches.
Oh yeah.
And more to come.
Yeah. So what we're referring to is the radical shapes of these guitars. Can you just kind of maybe explain that for the listeners so we can get the ball rolling?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, they're definitely more angular. Whenever people see them for the first time, like some of the comments, like a lot of people will be like, like this looks like the Jetsons guitar, or like, I mean, similar kind of to like those Ernie Ball, the St. Vincent guitars, like that comparison gets made a lot. And yeah, they do have a lot of straight lines to them. They're not very curved. But as far as like the design goes,
by not very, you mean not at all.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just make that clear.
Yes. No. A lot of
no protractors hanging around in your studio.
No. The French curve's got a lot of dust on it. But yeah, no. I think the reason I kind of got into that, I mean, growing up, I was always a big like White Stripes fan, and you'd see Jack White with like those airline guitars, and like it was always so striking. And I mean, that's not totally like straight all around, but compared to most of what I was seeing, definitely had its own unique kind of flair to it. So when I was silly enough to be like, I'm going to start designing my own guitars, I kind of carried that over, and then just kind of would pick like a one, either like slope or angle, and try and just kind of repeat that throughout the guitar design. So like, I mean, it might not come across in podcast form, but if you're looking at the guitars, for instance, one of my models, the 1129, like the angle of
all the verticals or would-be verticals share the same angles.
Yes. Even so much as like, if you look at the horns or what, I guess what you'd consider horns, the angle between the highest point on the left side and the highest point on the right side, that slope is the same slope as like the angle for the upper bout, or the left and right bout, like where it cuts in kind of. Does that make sense? And just so like, yeah, picking an angle or like a handful of them, and just like never really, when putting these straight lines in there, never really guessing, just having like, oh, it needs to go to the left, I better reuse that angle. And yeah, that's kind of my design process. It's kind of hard to articulate, but hopefully that like makes a little sense.
Well, if you only have one ruler, I mean, that's what's going to happen, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's funny when we were all talking about this, I think we kind of all said like simultaneously said, sort of like you mentioned airline, and our good friend Brian Nutter, if airline and Nutter had a baby.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what this is kind of looking at.
Yeah, and I mean, even like what you guys were mentioning earlier about like Philly with like the scene, like, so I went to school at Temple, so right on Girard is DePinto Guitars, and that was like walking distance from where I was living. So I was seeing like all these space age, like really wild contours.
Yeah.
So like I've always had that back in like the back of my head. Like Chris's work is incredible and like, wildly influential. So
he was a great guest. We had him on maybe about 10, 12, something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
He's been a really great Brandon Wound client as well.
Yeah.
Really glad. Yeah.
One thing that you mentioned on yours, it says, I think you're talking about, it does have a sort of a mid-century tang to it. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And especially on the Hazard, which is kind of like I guess it's your take on like an offset guitar, almost into Explorer land.
Yeah,
it's like a cross between an like a Jag and an Explorer.
Yeah,
would you say, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. That one actually kind of reminds me of. What was it, the Meteora or something like that Fender put out not too long ago?
Oh, yeah.
With that longer bottom of the guitar.
Right.
Well, obviously,
kind of slanted lower bout.
Yeah, yours is definitely more angular and squared off. But when I saw that the first time, I said, oh, I see some relation there.
What made me think of the thing I'm about to say is when I saw that, and I saw that it's rather flat. Yeah, I mean it's a flat top as opposed to the 1129.
Yeah.
The 1129 has got a forearm bevel. And this one, when I first time I saw it, I was like, I want to see the mica on my grandma's
kitchen table.
Kitchen table on that.
Boomerang
That would look
pattern.
fantastic. Yes.
Boomerangs,
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
That would look killer on that, or at least a pick guard like that.
for sure. I mean, I got there's a bunch of things I want to do when I get around to them in the studio, but like I got some. My dad a while ago, I had stolen a bunch of his Hawaiian shirts, and like he's got some crazy like kind of Art Deco-y mid-century like kind of patterns on them.
Wow.
So I'm just like, well, I was wearing one, but it ripped, and I'm just like, I'm gonna save this. Like, I'm gonna do a fabric top guitar, and like I think that would look really cool. So.
Okay, I'm going to throw something out there. And if you want to take this and run with it, by all means do.
Oh, I'm all ears.
He hopes you do, by the way.
No, seriously, because you're an art teacher, so you have access. Has anyone seen like screen printed guitars?
Yeah.
Didn't they do that in the
I've
80s?
seen. I don't know that I've seen any.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of like some of the Gibson logos or like screen printing's been used in that, but
Yeah.
to look at it as the
Les
for a
Paul
body
signature.
Yeah,
I don't mean like Jack Daniel's stupid guitar or something like that. I mean like sort of
Stupid guitar.
like band flyer style, where it's just like the messy kind.
So
Right.
about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, Peavey had a line of jet printed guitar bodies.
Okay.
So you could actually send them art, or they had some standard things.
Yeah.
And they would actually put the body through a large format jet printer.
Yep.
And then finish them from there.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, that's crazy.
But that's too perfect.
But a friend of ours, Chris Odie, at Retro Guitars, has been doing a lot of
Like
work.
I want to see a crappy band T-shirt printed on like a.
Can I
you know what
continue?
mean? Yeah, I'm sorry. Please
Can
go
I
ahead.
continue?
Madam, stop yelling at me.
Somebody show Todd what he wants.
Yeah, please.
So he's been doing a lot of cloth covered bodies that he's been been using poly on the finishes. He did a Japanese print.
It is so cool.
Telecaster body for me.
Yeah.
And that's back when he was still using lacquer, which he had to use an insane amount of lacquer to smooth things out. With the poly, it's a little bit easier now. You can build up a lot of finishes fast. But yeah, basically, he glued the poly actually glues the fabric to the body.
Yeah.
And then you just shoot over the top.
Well, and
of
that's
that.
what I think James was talking about with his
with
dad.
the t-shirts. So if you'd like, we can put you in touch with Chris, and he maybe has some tips.
Yeah,
for
that
you.
could be that could be sick. I was gonna say, do you guys know? I'm probably gonna say this name wrong. Deimel, Deimel.
Oh,
Frank
Frank
Dimel?
Frank Dimel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dimel. Yeah,
we were
that's
just talking about him while you were like offline.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say he does. Like, I guess those are those screen printed. Those bodies are insane.
No, those are actually his wife is a pop artist, and she creates. So
geez.
she maps it out to take. It's pretty amazing because she determines what all the curvatures and contours are, and then lays it. So she makes it so if you flatten it out, what would it look like? And she applies her art onto that. It's kind of like a globe, right?
Yeah.
If
That's wild.
if you unpeeled a globe,
Yeah, the orange peel globe.
yeah, exactly. And she does that with a guitar,
Jesus,
and it comes out
They
perfect.
were-
They are
they were
such
on
a
the-
dynamic duo.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that's
they were
insane.
on the show a long time ago. So if you look way back in the archives, I think their kids were acting up too while he was on
Yeah.
the show. I thought that was pretty funny.
We got to get him back
it's
on.
a whole family affair.
Yeah, that guy, man. He does some. He's really pushing the
Yeah.
limits.
Oh yeah, they're
totally.
really incredible designs.
Yeah, he's good.
So, anyways, back to the Sturner show.
Oh yeah,
We're
right?
singing the praises of everybody, which is great. I mean, everybody's contributing, and I'm
Oh,
glad that
yeah,
you are
no.
too.
That's
and
why
I'm
we're
going-
here. It's
Yeah.
it's why we're here.
So
Yeah, I
tell
love
us
talking about
about
guitar
some of the special things about your guitars. Like one of the things on the Hazard on the website right now is a turquoise with it appears to be is that a gold pick guard or is that cream?
it's like a cream. So it's actually just plexiglass, and then I mixed up acrylic and sprayed that on the back.
Ah, cool.
Nice.
So
Yeah. Well,
it's a very specific cream.
I like the bridge choice that you paired up with that because it has a lot of character.
Yeah, so that's just a Schaller bridge that's got. It's actually, that guitar looks a little different now. So that bridge does offer, like, it's a top-loading bridge, which I personally like a lot. But also, after that picture was taken, I added to that. I think it's pronounced Certano or Certano. They're like a French company, but they make GB benders.
Oh,
And like with that bridge, it vibes really well. Just because, it's got the roller, so it doesn't like snag on anything on the bridge, and it's top loading, so you can just kind of like put the strings right through that. But yeah, I like working with that bridge a lot. I find that, it with the saddles being able to move left to right, you can kind of adjust string spacing. So you can kind of like really hone it into, whatever spacing you feel is most comfortable.
Yeah, Rickenbacker used that same bridge on a number of their models, some of their solid bodies, and it's it is a really adjustable. In my case, if I build something and I'm off a 32nd or a 16th on left to right on the bridge, I can always adjust the saddles up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's very useful.
It cures a lot of mistakes.
And if I'm correct, I believe that is the 3D6 model Schaller. In case anybody wants to go like, what is this talk? What are they talking about?
We'll take your word for it. What I found kind of interesting, it sounds like you like a very, very flat fretboard. I know you're using a 14-inch radius.
Yeah, usually I'll use like a 14 or 16 inch. I mean, growing up, I'd always played like, I was in like terrible metal cover bands in like high school. So I was like very much into like Lamb of God and like all that stuff. So I was very much into like shreddy things. So that's kind of my standard. But that being said, I do my fretboards on the CNC now. Oh, okay. So yeah, if people want like weird compound radiuses, like I'm game. I love doing, weird odd builds. So typically, I'm personally, that's my home base is like 14 to 16 inch, but
Okay. What kind of finishes do you like to work with?
I use a lot of water-based lacquer. I had been spraying nitro when I'd started out, and like I didn't have proper ventilation for it, and then I was like, my brain's gonna look like Swiss cheese if I keep this up. So, like even despite wearing the mask and like doing like a whole suit thing, I was just like, forget it. This is not worth my health. Yeah. So I switched to water-based lacquers. Usually, I'm using either General Finishes Precat lacquer. I like that stuff. And recently I've been using the Crystal Lac finishes, both their high gloss and their matte. Their matte's really, really nice. I really love how it feels on necks. It's my preferred finish for that. And it's nice. It's like super easy to clean up. I can spray it. I don't have to have like a brushless fan. I have a little spray booth that's just like a box fan facing outwards, and I'll put a filter in front of that. And it's just like, it takes a lot of the headache out of it. Even like cleaning the gun at the end of the day, it's like I'm not using necessarily solvents. I can use water and some dish soap, and it's like I can pack up and leave and not worry about it.
How do you find that reacts? I know you do a lot of clear back painted pick guards, which I do as well. Does the water base work okay with the clear plexi?
So usually with the plexi, I'll just use straight acrylic. Or if I'm spraying that, I'll just like thin it out with some water. But yeah, I don't think I've ever really tried it on the plexi itself. I don't know how it would adhere to it.
Yeah, because I always, like on mine, I'll scuff up the backs a little bit and then shoot. Whether usually it's an acrylic automotive lacquer, and and that really seems to really bite into the plexi pretty well.
Man, this is some cool stuff. If anybody's perusing the Instagram, it's just I love that you are playing pretty far outside of the old box.
Yeah, I'm trying to reinvent the wheel, I guess.
Well, let's go back to the very beginning. How did you get involved with with music in general?
Nobody cares about that, Tony.
Never mind.
Yeah,
never.
What was your first?
Everybody cares about
guitar? What was your first guitar?
Well, my mom, she had played for, years, and she had some acoustics. So I learned on like these like really old 12 strings. Like, I don't even remember the brand. It was just like the action was really high and it was like really brutal. But with my first guitar that like was mine, it was an Epiphone SG.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't stand SGs.
Favorite guitars of all time, man. Whoa, dude, that's true.
What, you don't like neck dive? You don't like crazy thin bodies? You don't like?
I love them, man.
Necks.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the horns and I was like, all right, sold. Like,
All right.
Well,
I guess they were called the Red Devil back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
That's what my dad said. Anyway.
So after you got that, walk us through sort of your historical pathway to where you are now.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I was playing guitar in high school, and like it was just me and my friends in like a small like metal cover band. We'd play like at whatever any outdoor shows we could or anything like that. But after that, I really ended up getting involved in just like visual art and specifically painting. So like music kind of like was on the back burner for a while. And I ended up going to art school, got my degree in painting, my Bachelor of Fine Arts in painting. And then around the time of graduation, I'd seen that, what was that document? It Might Get Loud, the one that's got like Jack White.
That's a good flick.
Oh yeah, it's great. But there's that scene where like Jack White has just like the single pickup and like a Coke bottle and like a string, and he makes
very beginning of the show.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, I could try that. Like that doesn't seem like too high of a barrier to entry. So then I started building cigar box guitars. And I'd already had a studio space with some of my friends who are also painters. But over time, like my painting started to wane and I started to get more into woodworking and like building these cigar box guitars. And like I was getting sawdust all in their stuff. And I was like kind of at a crossroads, and I was like, do I want to continue working with painting or do I want to, pursue this instrument thing? So I ended up getting a space across the hall from them so I wouldn't get like sawdust in their paintings and like ruin all their work. And since then, like I've just kind of, I'll still do paintings and stuff for like examples for kids because I'm an art teacher and everything. But I just dove head first into woodworking and guitar building a couple of years ago and haven't really looked back.
That's fantastic, man. Absolutely cool. Now, did the math throw you off? To me, that's the thing that like, it's one thing to say, oh, I can design stuff. I'm a designer by trade in a different manner, but like math, no. So the idea of neck angles and, distances and stuff, nope. Thanks.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that was like, I think it was having a good entry point with the cigar box guitars, because that like I didn't know what I didn't know, so like I was just like getting I'd get like hinges for like cabinets from Home Depot, and I'd use that as like a bridge and a nut, and like I had no idea what scale length was, and these were all like slide instruments, so like doing that kind of like made me realize like yeah, there is a lot of math involved in guitar making, but in terms of like making an instrument, something that makes noise, like that the barrier for entry is very low. Like
a shovel with a piece of yarn will do.
Yeah, and like is it going to sound like a top of the line instrument? Probably not, but like it'll make noise. And like in terms of what got me really hooked was like just plugging something into an amp and like hearing it make noise. Like it was just like my first one was just like some crappy humbucker that my friend had like ripped out of his old guitar and he was going to throw out. And I was like, oh, let me save that.
But it was fun, right?
Yeah, no, it's magic. When you like plug that in, you're just like, whoa, holy crap. Like the possibilities are endless. And like,
I'm a real boy.
Heck yeah. Yeah. It was
no lie.
A wildly important.
Do you still have the
life.
first like real guitar you made?
Oh yeah, no, I have too many. Yeah, a lot of the ones that like the original prototypes and stuff I'll have like around the house. My wife wants me to get rid of them, but I'm just like, you know,
That's
she's
your
like, you have too
history.
many. Yeah, you have too many guitars, and I'm like, think about it this way. They're like, I don't play them now because, like, in hindsight, like, they're terrible because I was like figuring out everything. But you know, now they're just sculptures. They're like, you know, there's something to hang on the wall, and like, it is nice to kind of go back to them every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, no, like, I have come a long way. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's that video of like, when I think about like my own kind of hubris starting out, like, there's that video of Paul Reed Smith. I forget which talk he was doing, and he's just like, yeah, no, you don't really get good until you hit like guitar 30. And like back then I was like, that's crazy. And now I'm like, oh yeah, no, it takes about that much. like,
He was right. No way.
yeah, no, turns out Paul Reed Smith knows a little bit about guitars.
Yeah, that is fantastic, man. Now, so lightning question here. Aside from your own guitars, you said you had several, and you had to make a quick dash because the apparently there's a wildfire in your neighborhood
In Philadelphia.
It could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, some of the trash cans.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah, someone lined up a row of dumpsters around your house and let them all on fire. What do you grab?
Oh man, if I'm grabbing something, I don't know. I mean, probably.
It's getting hot. Think fast.
Oh god! In my house, I have an old Ibanez that was like one of the first guitars I really got into playing. I don't even know what model it is. It's gray. I get that one.
The gray Ibanez.
It's a gray Ibanez. It's got a Floyd. It's the only guitar I have with a Floyd, and like I had that SG, but the Ibanez was the one that I was like, oh yeah, guitars rock. Like, this is definitely the instrument for me. So that one probably has the most, emotional baggage tied up in it. So I go for that guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, you mentioned that you were playing some, very astounding metal cover bands in school.
Oh, heck yeah.
That's a little bit different from what you're doing right now, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, I mean, back then I was very like kind of narrow in my musical taste, and I was like, it's got to be like Lamb of God and like Pantera and like anything that's got a skull on it. And then, as I got older and went to art school, was exposed to like a bunch of other like weirder bands, and I was like, those bands are great. Like, I'll still go back and listen to Lamb of God, but like I can also listen to like weird, like 100 Gex or something that's like completely like the opposite direction, and just like still appreciate it. Going to art school helps because like you're exposed to so much. Yeah, like even in terms of like visual art, like you don't have to be pigeonholed as like a figurative painter or an abstract painter, and it's just like my musical tastes before then were kind of like similarly pigeonholed. I was like, oh, I'm a metal guy. And then I was like, that seems silly. Like, why am I cutting myself off from all of these different, musical genres that I could learn to appreciate?
Right. Well, you don't see a whole lot of Levi jackets that have been cut off with like a Yola Tango patch on the back. So.
Oh, that sounds pretty tough. Like, I like that.
Oh, goodness.
Indeed. Now, one of the awesome things that you've got, you tend to, looks like you're getting pretty experimental with some of them. You've got, on your Instagram, you've got some that are, the closest thing that I could think of was, remember in the 80s, there was I can't remember who made it, but there was a white guitar and it had like a top rail that went, the guitar was built on an angle, but so was this like top rail. It was like almost like a
Roland.
like a tree saw.
Yeah,
it looked like
I
a
know
tree
what you're talking
saw.
about. It's wild looking. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's really kind of, it's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, I could see like Missing Persons or somebody like playing that. And actually, I think there was an Australian band. I just remember a video with an Australian band playing. I was like, whoa, that's the craziest thing. That guitar is crazy looking. But anyways, yours kind of either looks like that or a TV tray of sorts.
Yeah, you're talking about the one with the piping on the belts.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the one that I'm working on in this rapid prototyping class. So with that, I'm trying to think of like so the CNC has become a larger and larger part of how I've been like designing and building instruments for a while. And with that, like come, all the fixtures and like kind of your workflow that you have to center around that kind of tool. And it does help a lot in that like you can have the CNC run and do other things. But like if you're doing something that has obviously like cutaways or recesses on the top for all your electronics and pickups and stuff, and then something like a belly carb on the back, you have to flip it, and that involves indexing, and it's just like a lot of time doing setup stuff. So the idea behind this one was like, if I could limit the machining to just like one-sided machining where it's just the top, and eliminate the need to actually like flip it over to do contours, and just kind of like have it be able to like put on the CNC bed, press go, come back and have the body done. That's kind of like what I was going after for the main core of the body. And then the piping would serve as like, I mean, it's hard to describe verbally for podcast listeners, but the bottom bout with the piping, it just like provides a point where it could rest on your leg. And then the upper bout would be like kind of where the horn is on one side. But I was also thinking about like the Ibanez Gem guitars, the ones that have the little handle thingy.
Monkey grip.
Yeah. Like thinking about that and just like, design cues for like handling things. So that was kind of running through my mind, as well as those the Yamaha, what was it? The silent guitars.
Oh,
I remember, yeah, dude.
Those
are
remember
cool.
Those things are wild. Like I remember growing up as a kid, one of the people who lived in our cul-de-sac, one of their dads, I had gone into their house and like he had one of those, and I was like, what the hell is that thing? Like it always like stuck out of my mind.
The outline of an acoustic, or more appropriately, more like a jazz box.
Yeah. So like I always found that really like a kind of compelling design, and for that model they have like piezo saddle pickups in that, but I was just like that kind of design thinking kind of lends itself towards electrics. I'd say like more so than acoustics, because like I mean with electrics it's so much in the pickups that like really as long as you have something that you can house them in, like the rest of the body like outside of the core geometry of like the bridge and stuff like is kind of up for grabs. So like why not get weird with it?
Yeah,
get weird.
Todd,
Yes,
I have breaking news.
Before you share your breaking news, I want to I was thinking about what we were talking about, and as I recall, that actually was a Roland. But what was your breaking news?
You are a liar. You are a liar. So the guitar that we were discussing that has the extra, call it a neck brace, I guess, is the Roland GR700 guitar synth.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Anyways.
More details to come.
Yes, thank you so
At
much for
11.
that. So, Jared was raising his hand. He's got a question.
Of course. I wanted to know what major player, celeb, whoever, would you love to have play your guitars in a big old show like Madison Square Garden or some arena somewhere? Like, who would you love? Would it be Jack White? I mean,
well, let him. He'll tell us.
I was talking about Jack White earlier.
Maybe not Jack. Besides Jack White.
Yeah, don't say Jack White.
All right. So there's actually two. There's if you guys know Torres, Mackenzie Scott of Torres, she's like a total badass.
No.
Crazy good player. She's coming to Philly in October. I'm seeing them. Like, she's incredible.
How do you spell Torres?
Torres. She's really, really great.
Like it sounds.
Yeah. And so either her or John Dwyer of OCs or the OCs.
Oh, yeah.
They change their name all the time. But yeah, he was like, dude, he's just incredible. Got great energy for a player.
Cool.
Yeah, the OCs. That's like one of those bands. Like, if you know, you know.
Yeah, they're kind of like krautrocky, like I don't know. They're fun.
Yeah. Well, James, Mr. Man, and Mr. Sturner, you are making some really fantastic contributions to the guitar world, and we appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
It's really it is really nice to see original designs that have some pay homage, if you will, to some older 50s guitars and things like that, but with the whole modern take. I think it's great.
Yeah, and besides the stuff that's on your site, please, everybody, check out the Instagram because there's a lot more there.
Do it.
Oh yeah, no, I try and update the site somewhat regularly, but Instagram is definitely my most heavily used social media.
For sure. And thank you for being a teacher.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. I feel very blessed that I get to work with kids and help other people be creative. It's really, really rewarding.
Indeed. We're going to jump on our triple tandem bicycle and go visit.
Triple tandem bicycle.
I don't know what a triple version of. What's a triple tandem?
Is that like 6 people?
No.
Yeah, triple tandem would be 6 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that
triple
called?
bicycle.
Somebody's
Just
figured that
call
out.
it a triple-seater bicycle.
Yeah,
A tricycle.
It's got to be called
Bicycle
something.
built for 3.
It's got to be called something. Someone figured that out. We're going to go over and go down this dirty, stanky alley behind the bright yellow dumpster to find Jared because he's going to take us on a little trip real quick.
Apparently, I live in the back alley somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. So, welcome to the stinky world of Would You Rather?
Indeed.
Your band is recording the last song of its new album, and the producer, engineer guy turns to you and says,
More
the last
cowbell.
Oh, you threw him off. He didn't. He wasn't even through the first sentence. Now he's gonna be all screwed up. All right, Jared, hit it again.
Your band is recording the last song. Your band is recording the last song of its new album. The producer engineer turns to you and says, the last song is good. I don't want you to change your guitar tracks, but something's missing. I think if we had something different, it'll take that song to the next level. He turns and points to the studio corner where a baritone guitar and a Vox Mando guitar reside. Which do you play on the song?
Okay, now before you get to the next section here,
Let's kind of explain what these are.
baritone and a mando.
Yes.
Yeah. A mandolin has 8 strings, and it's tuned kind of like a violin.
Well, it's a mando guitar.
If it's a Vox Mando guitar, it has 12 strings.
Oh,
So
my
it's
apologies.
basically like
I
a
thought-
12-string guitar,
but it's small.
Yeah.
at the 12th fret.
Oh,
But
okay.
Is it small?
Yeah, it's general. They were like that painter's palette body shape.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'd have to see a picture.
Why would anybody want to play that?
When
I'm
you
looking
said
at it right
Mando,
now.
I'm thinking like
I've built
mandolin.
several.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to spell out mandolin.
Yeah. And then a
interesting.
baritone on the flip side of that.
Is
4
usually
string.
tuned. No, it's a 6-string guitar.
Oh, that's a tenor. I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're thinking of a tenor that's tuned like a
I'm
banjo.
all over the
Yeah.
place, man. I'm
But
sorry.
no, a baritone guitar is generally tuned down
Oh yeah.
2 steps.
Yeah, John.
It's based in C or B. It's tuned in B.
Yeah.
I forget what it is.
Yeah, the famous
But-
one is the Fender
Bass 6.
Bass 6.
But that's technically not a
A
baritone.
baritone?
yeah, it's an ovation.
More. The more prevalent one, at least in studio work, was the Dan Electro. Dan Electro had many baritone guitars, and I mean, you could tune a bass 6 to baritone tuning, and you'd get essentially the same thing. You'd have to change the strings slightly, but yeah, the bass 6 was actually designed to be played like a guitar, tuned an octave lower.
Octave lower.
Whereas a baritone guitar has a shorter scale length, longer than a guitar, shorter than a bass, but it's meant to be tuned, I think, in B.
That sounds pretty good.
So.
Okay, so back to our scenario here. Jared, says there's a side note. Oh, if you need an explanation of the Vox Man. Okay, there we go.
There it is.
Famously, he says it can be heard on the solo of Big Star's September Girls. And I'm not personally a fan of Big Star, but...
Oh, you don't know what you're missing.
Everybody tells me that.
I think more...
I don't like Pearl Jam either, so...
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You just lost 5 listeners.
I know.
No, I mean, I think the more probably easier to recognize would be in Wichita Lineman, Glenn Campbell, the guitar solo.
Yeah.
But,
yes.
One of the best guitar players of all time.
Indeed.
Yes.
So anyways, that's from Bruce Bacon. Cheers to you, Bruce Bacon, for sending that in. This is a good one. So,
every time I hear his name, I get hungry.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I know I am hungry.
Yeah. I hope he never runs across Jared. Let's see here. All right, so we're back in the studio. Something's missing.
Something's missing.
John in the other room, you know, he's I say John in the other room because he's literally John Fennell's in the other room right now, and he would say,
Mixing
Todd,
down,
your track stinks. Yeah, grab one of these two, the baritone or the mando.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go Tony.
Yes.
Then we're gonna go Jared and James, and then I'll bring it home. Tony, hit it, run.
I got a fever, and the only cure is more cowbell.
That's not on the. You just been waiting to say that.
I've
That's
been waiting
all.
to say
Yeah,
that.
I know.
You know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It.
More cowbell.
Do it.
I think. I am familiar with both instruments, obviously, and the Mando guitar is very cool because it is literally like playing a 12-string guitar.
Don't you have like a little like fake
have.
Rickenbacker version of that,
Well, no, I have
or a real version of it?
It's a replica of the Mando guitar.
Yeah, so fake. Let's just
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So what?
A replica. Okay,
It's a
Go ahead.
replica. It's probably better made than the
It's a
Vox ones.
replica Gucci bag.
But
Okay.
I mean, they're cool, and literally, it is a 12-string guitar
Yes,
that has been capoed on the 12th fret.
that sounds
That's
awful.
no, it doesn't. It's very bright,
Yeah.
and for the right song, it sounds perfect.
Oh, yeah.
For my money, I mean, like we were talking about Wichita
That is a
Lineman.
very specific sound.
That baritone sound is just, I mean, it gets me every time I hear it. And it's a really cool option. I mean, it depends on the style of music that you're playing and that sort of thing too. But yeah, for my money, I'm going with the baritone.
Okay, sounds good. Jared.
Baritone, next.
Why, Jared?
No, I think I'm gonna go with the.
I see
With
you
the
doing
baritone.
Really? I see you doing the Mando. You kind of like the, the country stuff and the little bits. The wheedly.
No, the Wichita Lineman, same. I share the same, opinion as Tony on that. It was
Tony's not on an island so far. That's
no.
great.
It also appears
Tony,
on Galveston too.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
so it won't
Glenn
rust.
Campbell was he was a guitar genius. He was one of the best to play, and you know what? Honestly, he can make anything sound really good.
And he didn't read a lick of music.
No, like me.
Nah, he was just.
I'm
he was
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, you are just in the same league.
Me and Glenn.
Why aren't you at
James.
Capitol Records?
James, what are you doing?
Oh man, that's tough. I think I'd go with the Mando just because the nature of the question. Like, I feel like a baritone I'd feel more comfortable on, but like if I'm trying to, put some proverbial stank on this, like I'm trying to think outside of what I would typically be comfortable. Like throw a wrench in the mix, and I think like the Mando would be just the most obtuse thing I could try to wrap my head around, and like would produce some interesting choices and sounds that I otherwise wouldn't make on something a little more familiar and comfortable. So I'd go with that.
All right, that's a good choice, my friend. As for me, what I would do now, I mentioned my friend Hex guitar player that I met at a show. Who knew? But fantastic guitar player. Great, sort of rock and roll. He does some chicken picking stuff too in a rock and roll style. He's been using baritones to do it. So like hearing a baritone in like a chicken picking rock and roll style, like punkabilly, sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, totally.
I can imagine that's very difficult to do, to pull it off well. Get what I said. Chicken picking, pull it off well. But what I would do, I'm with James on this one, because I would probably like grab the Mando guitar, hit it with a fuzz and like maybe a really hard trim just for some ooh, let's see what this is going to do. That would be some, to use your term, some stank.
For
For
like
sure.
it. That's what we're doing. We're gonna have an all Mando band.
Let's do it.
That would be awful.
Put some GB benders on it.
I can do a baritone Mando.
Get weird.
Yeah.
You could play the Mandocello.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, that was a really good one. Thank you, Bruce Bacon, for easy, Jared, for sending that in. Tony, we're going to say thank you to a few people, and then we're going to wind us up on our way out.
That is correct, Todd, because at this point of the show, there is a very special group of people that we love to thank. Mm-hmm. Why do we love to thank them? Because they help make this show possible.
That's right.
Did you know that?
I did.
So we call them our executive producers. Mm-hmm. If you want to find out how to become an executive producer, go to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs.
See you there.
Check out a couple of different levels in which you can participate and become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast. Each level comes with a bevy of great thank you gifts, things like T-shirts and barefoot buttons and flashlights and stickers and picks and all
the things.
The good stuff. But as an executive producer, you get one more thing. Todd?
That's right.
What is it?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
That's right.
That sounded nothing like Todd. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers. Tom Barazin, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Ken Sayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Anthony Lathrop, John England, Brad Partridge, John Esterly, Justin Jones, James White, Matt Hart, Bill Gola Guitars, Richard Kendall, Tig Harmon, John Jackson, Jason Roush, Gary Cooper, Mark Gotten. How about Mark Garten?
Yeah, him too.
Yeah, and his brother, Mark. Elad Mizrahi, Mikey D, Trevor Gunberg, Rick Calhoun, Anthony Gemolero, John Halverson, and Drew Lopez.
Yeah, right on.
But wait. There's more, because there is a, how shall we say, a creme de la creme of the executive producers. These are our grand poobahs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. They're
These
important.
fine folks get a special fez to place upon their head whilst listening to the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So special thanks to these grand poobahs.
They've got a special jukebox on the penthouse floor that only plays Boys to Men.
I thought it only played the Valentinos.
One of those guys were in the Gibson garage today. It's crazy
kidding.
you just said that. Yeah, I saw one of them. He was testing out
One of our poobahs or one of
Was he
Boys to
wearing
Men?
his fez?
One of the Boys to
one of
Men.
the Boys to Men.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
back to you, Tony.
So-
That's crazy.
Special thanks to these grand poobahs. Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Science of Sound, Cody Foster, Sean S. Tommy Manasco, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Tim Nowak, Tyler Rhines, James Pennington, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, Johnny Morales, Mel Sanders, Bob Crouch, Sam Jett, Michio Murakishi, Martin Cliff, Hex Matos, Michael Van Zant, and Andrew Dion.
Yes. Thank you all so much for keeping our little boat afloat.
Boat
That's
afloat.
right.
Indeed. We value you, each and every one of you. Thank you. James, where can people find you and, hopefully get a guitar from you?
Oh, yeah. Well, my website, SturnerGuitars.com, pretty straightforward. And I'm Sturner Guitars on social media. So that's at Instagram. And so, yeah, I also started a TikTok. I'm not very good at it right now, but I'm slowly getting better. So if you're into watching videos of very specific guitar building stuff cut into little 30-second chunks, you can find me at Sturner Guitars on TikTok as well.
Nice.
Amazing. Tanya,
Yes.
go ahead.
Well, if you want, you could go over to pickguardian.com.
Yes.
Check out some of the fun things that I do. Sometimes I've got some things posted on Instagram. I haven't done that for a little while, but I will. I promise, because I've got some cool stuff to post. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you need. I will take very good care of you. And I might even have a tip or two for you.
Yeah. If you want some really cool materials to put on your guitar, Tony's the man. Jared, how about yourself?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me, ask me some questions about pickups, just go to the Guitar Knob social media sites, Instagram or Facebook. It will get filtered to me.
And at some point, you're going to get your own social media. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Someday.
You can send me an email, todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. We'd love to hear from you. Please send us your Would You Rathers. We love when we get really fun ones in. It's the spice of life. Whatever what's the Scottish phrase for that? Anyways, have a fantastic guitar week, everybody, and subscribe.
Yeah. I am a swordsman. Oh, absolutely. The fries are awesome.
Let me know when I can wake up from my nap.
Shut it.
Cutting in and out. Goodbye, buddy. You are cutting in and out. There you are.
Okay, I'm in the background working on stuff.
He's on the background working on stuff.
Oh, man, I got a chocolate shake today.
Yeah.
I heard that. That's not going to smell good there.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm never going to eat dinner tonight.
There's someone in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone in
the kitchen, I know.
All right.
A blunderbussman.
Doesn't quite have the ring to it.
Yeah.
It comes with a good cherry with a stem, not just a canned cherry. It's a good, like a cherry. Schooly boo, schooly boo, schooly booly booly boo.
We're solving problems by the bushel.
The chocolate is so good. It just comes in a flimsy cup. That's the only thing I don't like. Nice, sturdy, thick straw. That was weird.
My bad.
It didn't feel right.
I know.
Good tasting whipped cream. Yes. You're starving, Jared. That's not good.
Someone in the kitchen with Dinah, strumming on the old fiddle, playing fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, fee-fi, fiddly-I-O.
Hopefully that was relatively painless.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.